Okay, so let's jump into the cost model for the AHC. So the consortium developed this three-tiered approach, tier 1, 2, 3. So John, let's talk about tier 1, where it's just the procurement support, right? Let's talk about the scope for that. The cost is going to be $10,000 one time. And this is really designed to get match out of the procurement process if indeed the government folks want this to happen. So John, why don't you just walk through the scope for that?
Okay, and Tom, you have to clip this a little bit because I'm not on tier 1 screen. So there it is. Okay, Tom, the procurement support for the $10,000 incorporates probably 5 areas. The development of the statement of work. What are you going to require the contractors to do, whether it's the electric technicians that are working on this, the engineering support for that, for any type of flood mitigation. What are you going to be asking for to do within that statement of work? Prepare the RFP so that we can get the requirements and the statement of work, as well as the terms and conditions aligned for the vendors to work through the project and get those types of activities together, that everybody knows what they're responsible for and what the pricing shall be and what that schedule should entail to try to get all the requirements done in the proper time frame. Distribute the vendors that are applicable for that development, whether they're electric sector or flood mitigation experts or any other type of sheltering or other mitigation types of activities that you have. What vendors do you need to get together? Pull those vendors together, distribute the RFP, and then develop the evaluation criteria so that the states can determine the proposals that you did receive in from hopefully the responses that you have. Help to review those responses and provide the evaluation criteria that the individuals from the states provided. Give that back to the states, and then forward those on to the state so that they can determine who is the best award for the state at this point in time, whether it's a best proposal for the state, so they can select the winner of that proposal.
Okay, so tier 1 is just procurement support. We help you put it together, get it out, bring it back, organize it, and give it back to you for you all to move and award. But as part of that, we'll help the vendors understand what the match means, coach them on how to submit it so that they get it in. So tier 2 then includes tier 1, but now it's getting into the match tracking for internal government meetings and efforts and any external government meetings and efforts. So we've tried to outline a little bit for you. There's a lot of time and hours spent on the government side as we do these projects. So it can be with your Department of Emergency Management, law enforcement, it can be with engineering, Department of Public Works. In some cases, they might even, I guess, John, in some cases, they have the National Guard, right, advising.
You have the National Guard, you could have the Corps of Engineers, you could have a lot of different proposals in play that, which ones are the top 2 or 3 that you want to work on, and all of those, and how relevant are those proposals at this point in time, or those projects that may have been looked at 5 or 6 years ago, are they still relative at this point? And there's a lot of analysis and business cost analysis of which ones would provide the best effort within the city or state that you're looking at.
We provide the staff to track those internal meetings and also external meetings. So, and then the consortium also develops its own match contribution, right? So John, can you speak to that for just a minute? What does that mean, the AHC match?
Yeah, I mean, we have administrative hours that we are working on through that cost mechanism that are typically over and above any of the administrative fees that we would be charging on this project and working through some of that. Some of the coordination and collaboration efforts would go a little bit above and beyond, trying to figure out where that match happens to be and getting into the departments and making sure that the controls and everything are in place. A lot of that is a lot more than would be ever expected, and those hours are tracked as well to include that in the match.
And we also hold educational workshops and things related to these projects. All that counts in as well. So the consortium really becomes a multiplier from the external standpoint to these projects. And of course, lastly is tier 3. Tier 3 is what we evolved to during the catastrophic planning program. Is year 1, we did a little bit. By end of year 2 and year 3, the consortium really became the program office for the states because they just didn't have the time to do it. So tier 3 sets up a program office with people that are dedicated to this, right? It includes tier 1 and tier 2, but as you can see here, it provides staff, and that varies in size based on the need. For a flat fee, we organize that. Daryl made a good point, was we facilitate all the organizational meetings that are program related, which are a lot of them. We manage the BRIC grant program schedule. As John mentioned, there's a lot going on that includes government, private sector, stakeholder movement, management of all the contractors in the project. So we take care of all that. If something's going wrong, the government can decide and we implement the decision. And lastly, the reporting of the match into the FEMA grants management system, which we've got trained staff on as well. John, did I miss anything on tier 3?
The only big thing there is you have a very restrictive timeline typically within these BRIC grants. And, and at max, you have about 6 months to try to pull everything together regarding the procurement activities, the performance of the project after the procurements are done, the actual work itself, and to get any of these grants submitted out in the January timeframe is a very constrictive, very restricted time. And the program management is basically the responsibility to manage that schedule so that all the activities are done on a timely basis.